Alright, now Jobs described himself as a morning person, waking up at around 6 a.m. In an effort to keep his routine as efficient as possible, he wore the same outfit every day, a black mock turtleneck designed by Issei Miyake, and a pair of Levi jeans. Once dressed, he began working immediately. Jobs actually had a direct telecom line set up between Apple, Pixar, and his home. It was called a T1, which updated all his files and data across all the computers connected to the T1 line, allowing him to be working from home, continue at Apple, and pick up where he left off at Pixar. Jobs stopped working once his kids woke up around 7:30. The family gathered around the table for breakfast, where the kids finished up their homework and Jobs ate vegetables, dried fruit, and his personal favorite, Odwalla juice. After seeing his kids off to school, Jobs tried to stay home and work for at least an hour, but some days he would head to work immediately, putting his arrival time at Apple around 8 to 9 a.m. Jobs sat in meetings for the majority of his workday, especially on Mondays, when 10 of the company's top executives would meet up with Jobs and run through Apple's entire business, examining how much of each product was sold the previous week, discussing future products still under development, products they were having issues with, products with a larger than expected demand, and more. Although there weren't many formalities at Apple, Jobs ensured this Monday meeting was well organized and well prepared, since it was crucial that every member of Apple's executive team were all on the same page. At noon, Jobs would break for lunch. He was a self-proclaimed fruitarian, becoming obsessed with the diet as a teenager. That meant he ate primarily fruit with occasional nuts and seeds. If that doesn't sound extreme enough, Jobs took things even further by eating just one food in particular, like apples or carrots, for weeks at a time. This is actually part of the reason why Jobs chose the name Apple for his computer company. I'll actually be explaining more about the story behind Apple's name in an upcoming video, so be sure you're subscribed for that. But after his pancreatic cancer diagnosis in 2003, he decided to expand his diet beyond fruit to foods higher in protein, like fish and eggs, thereby transitioning from a fruitarian to a pescatarian. After enjoying lunch, he visited the design lab around 1 p.m., checking out the development of future products and closely examining various prototypes. In many ways, Jobs served as a one-man focus group, judging for himself if a product felt right in the hand or delivered a satisfactory user experience, allowing his intuition influence over important decisions. And many of these decisions were made in the design studio, where Jobs spent about 2 to 3 hours every day. Afterward, he would focus on communications inside and outside the company, reading through hundreds of customer emails, making phone calls, and going on walks with Apple managers and executives. If there is an upcoming presentation, Jobs would also spend this time rehearsing and running through his slide deck. His workday ended around 5 p.m., when he would drive back home and sit down to dinner with his family, which often included raw vegetables from the family garden, and even an after-dinner tea brewed with homegrown herbs. Jobs would indulge in a glass of wine from time to time, but otherwise avoided alcohol altogether. After dinner, around 6:30, Jobs and Lorraine, his wife, would take a walk around their neighborhood in Palo Alto. The two would often be spotted carrying a bottle of Smart Water, Jobs' personal favorite. When it came to winding down at the end of the day, Jobs often meditated, listened to music, or read a book. Despite being worth over $10 billion, Jobs led a relatively simple life. He didn't have any mega mansions with sprawling estates or supercars crowding up his driveway. He just worked at Apple, spent time with his family, and often used his spare time for self-reflection, which is strikingly similar to a lifestyle he once considered as a young man, that is, becoming a monk and living in a monastery. And although his reality turned out much different, I think beneath the surface, the strong connection he had to his spirituality and intuition empowered him to take huge risks that ultimately paid off in the end.